What's going on, lovely people? My name is Abdi Mohammed, and today I'm here with Alexis Robinson. Alexis Robinson is a senior manager at one of the biggest tech companies in the world. She's a seasoned practitioner in the cybersecurity and compliance space. She's a mentor of mine, and I'm very grateful for her being here today. We're going to ask her a bunch of questions about her career, her story, her journey, and hopefully we can get some education and some value there. So, Alexis, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Abdi. I feel honored to be your first, hopefully, my first person on this podcast. I am so excited. I'm so proud of you for doing this. So, whatever you wanted me to do, anything regarding this, I definitely wanted to jump up and say, yes, absolutely. So, I'm so happy to be here today.
Listen, we are all blessed here to have you. And one of the things I thought about, I said, hey, if I had to have a first guest, I need to start this podcast with a bang. Right. I know a fair amount of tech professionals, but some of there aren't that many that are as dynamic as yourself. You have a very bubbly,
Oh,
lovely
thank
personality,
you.
and you're known for having a really big heart and serving other people. So I wanted you to be here as my first guest.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. All righty. Now let's get to business. So, Alexis, you have been in the industry for over a decade. Is that fair to say? Over a
Yeah,
decade,
yeah, yeah.
right? So, given that you've been in the industry for over a decade, I really want to, we'd like to understand a bit more about your origin story. Like, how did you get into the cybersecurity space? Did you study computer science in undergrad? Was it something you always wanted to do? Like, hey, you woke up when you were a teenager, like, I want to be a cybersecurity person. Like, did you watch a movie? Like, what happened? Like, give us the Spark Notes version.
So, okay, for a lot of people in this field, especially for those that have been in it for at least 15 years, it's not that we all thought that we wanted to be cybersecurity experts
Right.
because the term didn't really take off like that with until like the past like 5 to 10 years, like really, to be honest. So when I was starting out, I knew I wanted to do business. I didn't know what in business, but I wanted to do business. And my mother was already in the field, and it was mostly just security and then information security at the time, right? And so I, of course, as most parents of successful, of children of successful parents, you don't want to do exactly what your parents were doing immediately. So you run away from it. So that's what I did. So I went So I started off as an accounting and information systems double major in at University of Maryland, right? And I was thinking I'll do the information systems on the side, but accounting, business is what I'm going to do. But I realized I wasn't good at the accounting classes. I didn't like them really. And the only thing that made sense was information systems. And the reason why, because my mom pretty much trained me on coding, Excel, different pieces that I need to know, understanding how computers work, the back end. That was her thing. And so taking those classes were really easy for me. Like literally, I barely even went to. I'll be honest with you. I barely even went to class. Would come in, take the test, and just pass through. Like I'm just, yeah. The teachers hated me because I'm like, I already know this. I don't know why I already knew it, but I did, even though I didn't have to study for it. It just came naturally. Coding came naturally for me as well, and so past that point, I was thinking, I might get into IT
Right.
because it's the business side of IT with accounting and maybe accounting systems. I really that class really resonated with me.
Right.
And so my first job out of school was actually CGI Federal, and that was a kind of a security consultant there. But I didn't really understand cybersecurity. It was there is uh, Momentum was a system, accounting system that was leveraged, and anything related to security was like a module outside of it. That was something that I had to work with customers, mainly federal government customers, to deal with. And I didn't really know at that time that's what I really wanted to do, but I really liked it to a certain extent. When I got to EY, we weren't really doing cybersecurity at all. It was like IT assessments. But with
Mm.
IT assessments, there's multiple types. The
Right.
main bread and butter is like financial assessment. So that's usually there's like, financial statements and then the systems that generate the financial statements. And all, that's exactly like assessing that to
Hmm.
be able to support the financial statement audit was what I was doing.
Right.
But then my first client that I would say was true cybersecurity experience was Department of Health and Human Services, and I was dealing with FISMA, which is like the Federal Information System Modernization Act.
Yeah.
Then it was a Management Act, but that was mandating that every single agency had to have cybersecurity policies or cybersecurity program. our information security program, really, that was the term, information security program, and they were going to be audited by Congress to submit the results to Congress. So they needed
Right.
an auditor to come in. And that's what like my team, my org did for HHS
Or
for
did
that
you just
long.
say Congress?
Yeah. So all of for FISMA, all of the metrics, all of the results for the like literally the metrics that would come in would have to get reported to Congress every year. That is a thing. It still is a thing. It's like still do that. That's just what happens. So in order to do that, you have to be audited.
Right, right,
So
right.
so you have to do it. There's OIG metrics and there's CIO metrics. OIG, Office Inspector General, every major department has an Office Inspector General. They're
Yeah.
the ones that authorize the audit for you to do. CIO metrics is based on what the CIO is determining that they're doing internally within their organization. So
Hmm.
those two metrics would go up to to Congress and like reported in their system. So it was a very important thing, but it wasn't really considered cybersecurity. It was just considered information security assessment.
Right, right,
But
right.
the building blocks of cybersecurity were there. So when I was doing audits for cybersecurity, in that sense, for FISMA, I was learning all of the basics of cybersecurity at a high level and governance at a
Hmm.
high level. So this is, I would say, if you're listening to this is the track that I did. Well, if you're talking about a GRC expert, that
Right.
was what I did. This is what that track was.
Yeah.
So was I doing pen testing? No. Was I doing any sort of SOC? No. I did incident response? No, none of that. But I was responsible for either guiding or assessing how other agencies did that in alignment and in compliance with regulations, policies, requirements, NIST, that kind of stuff. And that really started me off. And then past that point, I was like, wait, I want to do this more. Like the financial statement audits were like, yes, it's the bread and butter, but it didn't excite me like the cybersecurity parts because it changed every year. So
Right.
like DHS would be the one issuing those metrics and those requirements, and you had to be up to date on what was going on. And they would change the rubric, they would change what was important, what was necessary, and it would be based on cybersecurity events and things that were going on. And so they would put more emphasis on different things year after year. And that's the part that I really loved. It was the excitement, it was being able to understand the overall view of cybersecurity for an organization and then understanding how the building blocks made up. That it was so much fun for me. So yeah, that's how I got started. That's how I learned. And
Yeah.
then obviously I have my cheat code, which is my mom, who
Yeah.
does this.
Yeah.
And we would talk about things all the time about regarding cybersecurity or what she was seeing in her space.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Shout out to your mom, Alexis's mom. If you're watching this, you're amazing. Thank you for bringing Alexis to the
I'm
world.
sending it to her. Shout out.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So one thing I wanted to touch on is, your experience working in EY, and you talked about how you kind of evolved into the cybersecurity space. It wasn't
Yeah.
something that was hot and trendy as it is maybe now, right? And you know you mentioned that you had to learn these skills. So I
Yes.
want to talk about that because learning, a lot of folks are not aware that when you work in tech, the there's a requirement that it's not written out anywhere, but it's
Yeah.
required of you. It's an unwritten rule that you're going to have to keep learning to keep up with the industry. Otherwise, you potentially are going to go out of business or out of a job.
Exactly.
So I wanted to
Exactly.
talk about your education journey, you know, to fill in those cybersecurity gaps. Did you go to seminars, workshops, certifications? What did you do to educate yourself as you were evolving into that cybersecurity practitioner?
So I use certifications more so to confirm that I know what I'm doing.
Mm,
It wasn't I didn't use them to learn.
right, right, right.
Because to be honest, I'm not a good test taker.
Mhm.
And most of the time, when you're getting a certification, you're learning how to pass the test, not the
Right,
concept.
right.
And most of the people that I talked to in the field were people that weren't good test takers either, but they knew their stuff.
Right.
And so a couple things kind of worked out for me when it comes to building my cybersecurity knowledge and my brand in GRC. Um, One, for GRC specifically, it was understanding the impetus and being able to watch out for what's happening in the news and what was the immediate effects afterwards for policy. So there's
Mm,
podcasts, like Meritalk does a really good podcast on certain things. Um, there is different briefings that come out after new laws are passed or new things that are happening worldwide. So there's always things to follow when it comes to that. And then there is also like trainings and that you can take on specific concepts that you want to learn. So if I was learning about how cloud specifically, forget like cybersecurity itself, but cloud specifically, there's certifications for that. And there's trainings that I took to really understand like how to work with the cloud, which you could apply to cybersecurity in some way, shape, or form. There's certain key things that you need to learn if you're dealing with cloud and cybersecurity at the same time. But it wasn't it wasn't a like direct science to it. It
Hmm.
also was connections.
Right, right.
So and then just
Connections.
working in it, connections and just working in it. Like just every day or every like a project that I had dealt with information security in some way, shape, or form, and then auditing different aspects of how it looks like in different organizations. So it was like doing it in HHS, but then going to the Army, and then going to Air Force, and going to different like branches of the military. Then also doing it within tech, and then doing it with different healthcare companies and different energy companies. Just the experience of actually just doing it. I'm a big advocate of just on the job, just getting into it. So you don't necessarily need to know a lot or be able to have someone just pull you in. It sometimes you just gotta just get your hands dirty in it. So and that's any aspect of cybersecurity, not just GRC. If you want to be a pen tester, you don't have to just wait for getting the job for pen testing. Just do pen testing. If you want to understand like laws, regulations, and policies, just go read them. They are available, especially now. Everything's available. If you don't know something, I usually just will like, I don't know that concept. I'll just get a YouTube video and just go and check it and like sit there for and go through three different ones. I don't even just pick one and call it a day. Pick like three or four different ones just to understand that concept and what it means.
First off, wow, that was a great answer.
Yeah.
I noticed you mentioned that you never stop at just one resource. You look at three different videos. How important is that when it comes to studying for a certification or studying for concepts, that you're not familiar with? Because I noticed, even for me, that's
Mhm.
actually something I do as well, where, you know, I'm not going to take just one Linux fundamentals course. I'm probably going to take, at least two to three just to make sure that, hey, do I know what I'm talking about? Do I know? Can I
Yeah.
confidently say I understand these concepts?
So it's not just about when you're thinking of a problem, and it doesn't relate to just cybersecurity, but anything. If you're
Yeah.
thinking of a problem that needs to be solved, you don't want to just learn how to solve it in one way. You want
Right.
to learn how to solve it in three different ways because the application. So, for instance, if I am trying to get someone ready for a new certification, which just happens, right? And that's what part of my job was in the early stages of me being in Amazon was getting cloud services ready for FedRAMP.
Yes.
Yes, there's one way to do it, and that's fine. But there's different. But every cloud service had different situations going on all and so it was like you're better off if you learn five different ways to solve the same problem than one way because then you can be able to apply it to any scenario and you can tailor like the advice, the recommendation, or your plan
Hmm.
that would be the best for that situation.
Right,
So
right.
I say that for anything. Like you don't want to just learn it one way. Same thing, even though I represent AWS, if you're just generally learning cloud and you're trying to be a cybersecurity expert in the cloud, you should use AWS, but you should also understand how Google does it. You should also understand how Microsoft does it. Like it doesn't really matter. There's also a lot of other like SaaS PaaS providers that are out here that do very similar things. If you're trying to be an expert within a field, you should know how all of them do it.
Mm.
So it's just something that you should just know because we're also in the world of multi-cloud. So
Yeah.
we're also dealing with like people having a hodgepodge of different cloud providers providing different services. And they're not going to have some of them not going to have a full stack of just one.
Right.
So when you're thinking of like cybersecurity, that there's different tools to use for different things. And you want to not only be able to know how one tool works, but how many of them work to give the best package to somebody else.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You want to ensure that you're giving tailored advice for their unique circumstance. And the only
Yes.
way you can give tailored advice is for you to understand different ways of solving that problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a lot. That's amazing. So with, with your journey, working at EY, eventually you found yourself at Amazon. But before you left EY, I noticed you were a senior manager.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you had a team under you.
Yeah, I did.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, working as an individual contributor that eventually being called to lead. What do you feel like made you, I won't say qualified because I truly believe you're qualified, but what do you feel like made you, what do you feel like made that opportunity happen? What made the organization you want to say, you know what, Alexis Robinson, we're putting you in charge. You got it. Here's the mic. Here's the keys to the city. Go ahead.
So I'll answer that in two different ways. One, that's the first I've actually gotten that question. So that's a really good one on you. Like I've never gotten that question before. I really like that. So different organizations that path to managing others is very different in different places. The
Right.
way that EY does it and the way that Amazon does it is two different things. I also manage people at Amazon here too. It's two different. It's two different skill sets. So when you're looking at consulting and tech, and not consulting, sorry, consulting. When you look at consulting in general,
Big
the
four,
yeah, big four, like
right?
the path to move up is through management.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's not, I wouldn't say it's automatic, but
Right.
there is very different requirements. So, and what I love about the way to learn how to manage at a big four is it's part of the brand. It's part of what you have to do in order to move to the next level. It's not, there's no choices there. So when you are a staff 2 years in, right? The roles and responsibility or the proof to show that you can go to the next level as a senior is, have you mentored someone else? Is there an intern that you've led and you've guided as you go through this? How are they doing that? And when you go from senior to man, when you're a senior, you're assigned a set of 2 or 3 staff, and part of your metrics for like performance is how are you guiding and mentoring and making sure that they know what they're doing and keeping them on task. How are
Right.
you evaluating them? When you're a manager, it's the same thing for seniors and the staff that's underneath you. So it's like the more natural training grounds of how to manage teams. Everything, especially with EY, it's a people first like company. And I always say this: consulting, I feel bad for saying this, but the product is the people. you're
Mhm.
you're literally selling services based on people.
Right.
So you have to keep people happy, engaged. They are writing all of the stuff, they are doing all of the work. You have to keep them on time. You have to make sure that they work, like, and that they keep on, on structure, that they're trained, that they know what they're doing, that they're presentable to the client because they are client facing. All of that is part of the big four consulting way. So because of that, people management is a very natural order within a consulting big four firm that is responsible for getting butts in seats and putting them in front of a client. So you have all the resources around you to train you and do that, and you have to go to training on that too. Every 6 months you're going on training or doing some level of training that's based on leading teams.
Mhm.
So for the past like 8 years that I was in EY, by the end of it, I became one of the biggest experts when it comes to managing teams. But it's because that's what they do.
Right.
Like
You've been
they
groomed
teach you
into that.
how to raise morale for the team, understanding the team dynamics and team mixes and personalities and what different people within different levels will need specifically. Like that it is tailored for that. Now with Amazon, it's two different tracks. You don't have to be a manager to move up. There
Right.
is an individual contributor track and then there's a management track. And it's different, it's levels like within those tracks, but you could be like a level 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, no nines, but tens, and all these levels are there. But you could be an IC level 5 and a manager level 5. You could be a L6, L7 IC or L7 manager. They're not like interdependent. It's not like, oh, I gotta move up or I gotta be a manager to move up. It's literally two different tracks. There are directors that are, there are VPs that are individual contributors.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's two different things. And they do have trainings to go from IC to people manager. And it's more
And what
so
does IC
based,
stand for?
IC is individual contributor.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yes. IC to PM, which is people manager,
Yeah.
is like a lateral change. You're still the same level, but you're just changing, roles, responsibilities.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's interesting you say that, Alexis, because I've talked to folks who've been in the tech space for a while, and they would tell me, like, 15, 20 years ago, it was unheard of an individual contributor being a VP of engineering.
Yeah.
They're individual contributors, but they're being compensated as if they're
Yes.
C-suite,
Or
VP,
distinguished engineers.
distinguished
Yes.
engineers, like fellows. And I think that's so cool now, working in the tech space now, because, you know, before it sounded like, way back when, the only way for you to get promoted is to become a people manager.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that wasn't, and I don't think that was really fair to the people who didn't want to become people managers. They wanted to stay technical, and they wanted to, innovate and create some things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like I know a lot of good distinguished engineers within Amazon. They're so smart, amazing individuals. They should never manage people. Like just being
I will
real.
be honest. On this
Like
podcast,
they
we're
should
honest. We don't lie to
never
people.
manage. They
Tell the
should
truth.
never. No, they are not. They're not. That's not their skill set.
Yeah.
And they are like the intellectual property for
I
Amazon.
pay them.
You
Otherwise, the
pay
business
them.
will go out of
They've
business.
invented this. Like they invented all of this. What we see, they invented it. They know it. They are right there. They know it better than anybody else,
Hmm.
right? They are the ones that should be there, but they shouldn't manage people.
It's kind of like,
And
a
yeah,
player versus coach type of thing, right? Hey, that person's
exactly.
a great NBA player. That person
Oh
can hoop,
yes. Oh
but he is not
yes.
coaching. He or she is not coaching this team. No,
No,
they're not
exactly.
coaching this team.
Exactly. 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 And that's really how you have to think about it, but it actually makes a lot of sense. Because when I first got to Amazon, I was very confused by that.
Yeah,
Now I'm like, oh no, this makes sense. Because everyone remembers a bad manager. Everyone does.
yeah,
There
yeah,
is not, if anyone that's been working for at least like 6, 7 years, they
yeah.
all have a bad manager experience. And most of the reason why they had the bad manager experience is not necessarily the manager. It's because the organization didn't realize that that person might be really good at what they need them to do, but they are not necessarily good at motivating and empowering and being there for people. And that's okay. They shouldn't be managing people.
Right,
Like
right,
it's
right.
okay. And that's what I love about Amazon. People can go back and forth.
Hmm.
So the other thing that I love is there are seasons where you should be an individual contributor and seasons when you should be a people manager. So when you're learning a new field, sometimes it is best to be not like look, some of the major directors and VPs of different organizations have never done the work before, and that's okay. Right? Like so I'm not saying that oh, you should take a step down and do or be an IC, whatever, do anything. But sometimes if you really want to be an expert into a new field, that season of just being an IC and learning it and really like understanding it with no obligations to anybody else is very important. So there's seasons in your career where you can be an IC and a people manager and go back and forth. And I've done it twice at this point. I love it.
Wow. And yeah, I like how you mentioned seasons, because sometimes, like, for example, if you're a manager, at times, because of that responsibility of leading a team, you're more than likely going to have to work a little bit more hours than perhaps your individual contributors. In my opinion,
Yeah.
if you're a true
Yeah.
leader, you are going to support. If your team is working overtime over 40 hours, you're also going to be there supporting them. I
Yes.
personally don't believe in asking people to work more than 40 hours unless I'm willing to also do the same.
Yes.
I just think that's just principle number one of leadership, right?
Yeah.
But you know, with that being said, would you say like would you say that, given the seasons, sometimes, because you have so much other things going on in your life, you know what? This season right now, I don't think I can really lead people. I think it's best for me to be in an individual contributor position. That
Yes.
way I can spend again, more time with my family, more time with my mom who is sick, or
Exactly. Yes.
whatever, or I have this
Yeah.
business venture going on that's going to require more of my time, and that sort of thing.
Yes. Or I would also say, even within people management, a
Mhm.
lot of people think, oh, then the goal is to get as many people underneath you as possible. And sometimes, like, well, actually, I'm going to just delay or hold off on transitioning this new team over to me because I
Yeah,
want to get this part right,
yeah.
like, get this part like set. And once this part is set, then I can move over. Or I actually don't have the expertise to run this group. I think they would be better with another person that's the expert at this thing. Let me move them to that.
How
So,
important is that, Alexis? How
oh, that's
important is
important.
it for the manager to be hey, knowledgeable of the domain, not the expert,
It
but
depends.
knowledgeable of the domain.
It depends. It depends on the skill set of the team.
Okay.
So if the team is a very junior team, that's when the importance is of, okay, the person that is in charge of them needs to be the one to train them,
Mhm.
and it's their day to day is train them, and they must know it, right?
Right.
And if you have more of experienced team, then it doesn't really matter who their manager is. It's just that person just pays the bills. You got experts doing their thing. They know what they just use it. You just use the manager to just be like, make sure they're okay, they don't burn themselves out, that they if politically that they are doing the right things, and in certain like situations, but they're not it's a different thing.
Right. Right.
So that's where I'm a lot more open about understanding what the season is, depending on so many different factors: the amount of people that are on the team,
Right.
what their skill set and their levels are. Do they have the right mentoring? Do they have the right coaching? Is there another group that actually does that better, and that they would have a better growth path for them? Like, all these factors come into that.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. And given your leadership journey and your continuous education journey, I did notice last year around the summertime you got your MBA. Congratulations again. Congratulations. You got your MBA. And I've seen so many posts on the internet, where we're so polarized now where certifications are horrible. Don't get certifications. And someone else will say, no, you need certifications. And then someone will say, forget the MBA, burn it to the ground. You're wasting your money. And someone else will say, another like leader in the cybersecurity space will say, hey, getting an MBA was a game changer for me. It helped me evolve into the director VP I am today type of thing. So that being said,
Yeah.
given all the nonsense I just shared with you, why did you pursue an MBA given
Oh.
how much noise is out there when it comes to, pursuing an MBA, being in the tech field and cybersecurity in general?
So I pursued an MBA for a very specific reason, I'll make a statement before answering the question.
Mhm.
I think that certifications and higher education is important, but it's not. There's not a there's not a quick solution.
Mhm.
It's all
Mhm.
tailored to what your experience is and what you're trying to do. And so what I feel that what sucks, to be very honest, about the age that we're in is, one, a lot of people are trying to figure out, how do you get all of these things now to be able to get to a director now?
You can't get them now.
Versus, right, versus the natural progression. If you
Yeah.
look in my LinkedIn, you'll find that all of my certifications in my MBA, most of that is like within 2-3 years separate from each other. They're
Right.
not all at the same time.
Right.
There's never any time in my life where I am doing two things at once and there is a recovery afterwards. Remember, I told you I'm not a test taker. So it wasn't this thing
There's
of,
therapy afterwards, right?
right. Exactly. So I never also did a thing to get into a thing.
Right.
I did a thing to validate the knowledge that I already was doing. Because when I tried to do that, me personally, when I tried to do that, like I think I wanted to get my CPA at some point because I had accounting and I had the credits. I'm like, I might as well do it. Oh, I couldn't do it. Because for me personally, I'm not really good at all of aiming for a certification or a graduate degree without the passion or without knowing exactly why I'm getting it. So I fail. Not to knock anyone that has it. I fail when I try to do that. That's my story. So why I chose to get an MBA is when I got to Amazon. When you're at consulting, you're like grooming yourself to be a people manager, but then also an expert within your field and your domain. But
Hmm.
all the other pieces of running a business, the strategy, the goals, was reserved for the partner level or
Right.
like the internal level. Like internal groups were doing that for you. When I got to Amazon, when you're running a program, you do that all yourself. And it's like someone's like, oh, I need a 3-year strategy from you. And EY, I've never had to write a 3-year strategy. I didn't know what the heck to do.
It's like you own your
Then,
own startup,
yes,
you own your own company.
yes. It's like you're running your own business. Everything, when you move to tech,
Yeah.
when you are given a program, you're not like a person on a program. You have a program. It's expected for you to write out what your strategy is. It's expected for you to know the cost of how to pull this all together. It's expected for you to look around the corner and think of how can we address what's coming. It's expected for you to do all of those things.
Yeah.
But if you never were trained in it, it's very intimidating. And so that's when I realized, oh, I want to get an MBA. Now, I had parameters on the MBA. I'm like, I'm already in Amazon. Do I need to get something from Harvard, Cornell, whatever? I'm interviewing people that graduated from Harvard and Cornell to come into Amazon.
Right.
So I was like, I don't want to spend that money or take a break from work because I'm in the spot that I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to get better at it. And then I talked to other people that did Quantic, and it was sponsored by Amazon. And you got a scholarship from Amazon to go. So I didn't have to pay for all of it.
You didn't pay no money. Are you kidding me?
I had no money. I paid some money, but half of it was covered by Amazon.
Hey, we like
So,
that.
and I had friends that they went to like the Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae, and they paid
Right.
for their graduate degrees. Like that was always a thing of how could I get someplace that could pay for that for me, and or like endorse what I'm doing so it doesn't seem like because everyone's had the situation where the guy's taking their classes at night and the people on the team are like looking at that person like, oh well, they're not invested. Like
Yes, this is true.
I want the
Or that
company
parent,
to confirm.
that parent that has a hard
Yeah,
stop at 5,
yeah,
and this person has a hard stop at 5. They're not committed to the team. Well, actually, they have a
exactly,
kid to go feed. They have a baby to go raise.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
And it's not that it's not that perception was right. It wasn't,
right.
but that perception was still there.
No, it exists
And so
definitely.
I was like watching other people go through it. I'm like, I want to be at a company that endorses that part,
Mm-hmm.
not, oh, look at that person doing a thing. Because I remember when I got my PMP, I wanted to get my PMP, and that's not really a known thing within IT audits, like world.
No, it's very rare. You're the
It's very
only.
rare.
Yeah,
And a lot of people were like, why are you getting this? What are you doing? What is this for?
it's a
Didn't
waste of your
understand it.
time.
Waste your time, all
Yeah.
that. That's not what any of the partners have. That was what I was told.
Mhm.
So when I got it, I realized I don't want to go through this again, where I'm trying to go after something that's very important for my career, but the people around me don't understand or don't like gel with it. So that was also important for me too.
Right, right, right. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. With with your work at Amazon, given where you're at, you're a leader, you're an industry expert now. One thing you mentioned earlier, you said, "Hey, I I didn't get all my certification degrees at the same time. It took time to build those."
Yeah.
How important is it to understand what type of game you're playing? Because some people
Oh,
are playing a 5-year game. Some people
yes.
are playing a
Oh,
20-year
that
game.
game was like, but I don't want people to think that they can't like try and fail and learn and make mistakes.
Yeah.
So you heard what I talked about for CPA, but I also did the same thing for like the CIPT, a privacy cert.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
got
you
that
had that
and
one. Wow.
lost it. I got it and lost it. I let it expire. And people do that. They'll get the momentum, they'll get the certs, and they let it expire. And it's like, why? Because I couldn't get any of the CPEs for it because wasn't doing any privacy work and I
Right.
wasn't in the privacy field. And I didn't want to. I don't even know why I got it. So that was my lessons learned. why,
Why'd I get it?
why
Why?
are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I got it. So it was like I got the CISA because the CISA was exactly what was in the field. I was doing IT audits.
Right.
That's what I was doing. So yes, that makes sense. And it was easy for me to maintain it. Then I got the privacy one, and I was like, why did I do this? I regretted it as soon as I got it. I did my whole dance because I got it. But then I was like, wait,
Right.
I'm not going to be doing any privacy assessments, nor am I really excited about doing this. So I let it expire. Then I got my PMP, and that was like at least 5 years after I got it. Yeah, like 6 years after I got the CISA. And that was so important for me because I wanted to specialize in cybersecurity, but project and program management.
Right.
Like I wanted to specialize in that. That was something I really, really focused on. And even doing GRC, I want to do GRC projects, not just be GRC, actually manage teams and manage projects that are going up to high levels of visibility.
Yeah.
That was important for me. So I always tell people when you're thinking about your plan for certifications, is it to get into something? Nothing's going to be better than just actually doing the work and then networking and building connections with the right people because everyone's doing the same thing. They're getting a whole bunch of certs. Does it make you feel good in getting the certification?
Right. That's
What
different.
kind of like do you know how you learn? Are you a test taker? Can you do that? Like if you're a test taker and you can do it, get it. Great. That is on your side. If you're not, then build the right plan for it. Talk to people that do have those certs, many people, different people, but mostly that are in the roles that you want to be in. And that way you can see the work backwards.
Yeah.
That's how you really build your plan.
Right, 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 right. And then for you, I know we had a conversation about this, a few months back. You mentioned how you never were really obsessed with getting promoted. You were more concerned of, hey, am I improving? Am I getting the job done?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
want to talk to you about that because everyone, even me, I want to make more money. I want to be promoted. But I think a lot of folks, even myself, I didn't realize this until I mean, I've had a few promotions, but I realized a promotion isn't really just a pay raise. It means more responsibility.
Yes, it is.
They milk you.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on, on your philosophy when it comes to promotions and how, you know, how you how focusing on the promotion too much can be a detriment to you because you're coming from a place, in my opinion, you're coming from a
Mhm.
place of what you call a place of scarcity,
Yes.
and
So
that's
what I
dangerous. Whenever you're coming from a place of scarcity, right? Like it's very dangerous.
Yes. Yes. So I think the biggest thing that people need to understand about promotions is understanding what that next level looks like
Yeah,
and having good mentors at that level and above to really tell you what success looks like in that level. And the good thing is working in that level before the responsibility is on you. So every promotion that I've got, I've always got promoted on time at EY, and I've gotten promoted. Time is weird in tech, so it doesn't really matter about that. It's like I've always been working in that next level for over like 6 months to a year
so
before
you were
getting
already doing
into
the
it.
job before you got
Yeah,
the new title.
exactly.
Mhm.
And that's just for me. Now, some people can do it differently, but that for me, that's something that's very important to me because I'm a nervous wreck.
Right.
I am a perfectionist, and I'm a completionist too. I make sure that when I'm playing video games, I open all the chests.
The side
I go
quest
do
too.
all the side quests. That's me. So it's hard for me to be confident of going to the next level without doing that, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't. It's just that's just a me thing. But what I found is that learning curve once I get to that next level is not as big, is not as hard because I've already been doing that work. And so I don't necessarily ask for promotion. I usually ask, hey, can I be acting manager or acting this? Or can I be in that position? Because I study how people got promoted. And I will look at what are the things they did? What are the metrics? Or most companies even publish what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
And I will be
Yeah.
like, okay, so how do I get products that yield this level of influence? Or allows me to work on that. So when I'm asking higher levels for things or like, what do you need from me in my career? I'm not asking about the promotion. I'm asking about, hey, can I get a project that intersects with these different VPs? That's a metric on the promotion guide for that level. So they don't know that I'm looking at promotion, I'm looking at this. And then once I'm doing that and performing it, then I'm more confident to say, hey, I think we should make a plan for promotion for me.
Yeah. Yeah. You make the proposition so good where like it'd be foolish if we didn't promote you. Like she's already doing the work.
Exactly.
Let's keep her happy so she can continue to stay
Yes.
and
And
give her.
also, because to be very honest, as a Black woman in this,
Yeah,
it's I usually am never given the benefit of the doubt that I'll figure it out later.
agreed.
So I always have to have the evidence that I'm already doing it.
Yeah,
Always.
document
Now,
all of
I
it.
want to make that better though. I don't like that. I don't think that's something that, oh, if it was hard for me and I have to prove it and do all these things, it should be hard for the next person. No. But it made me more comfortable when I got to that level.
Mhm.
So that's something that I always recommend is making sure to study not just the act of promotion itself, but the characteristics that you need to show, the products that you need to lead, the visibility you need to have,
Yeah,
and the sponsorship to like say, okay, I'm working with this person that is on the board or is
yeah,
in the room or makes the decision. So they make sure that if I'm going up, they're already there. They can make sure I'm there
right.
versus this big thing of, oh, why isn't the company valuing me and giving me a promotion? It's usually three or four people that help decide promotions. Do work for them. Like do stuff for those people.
Yeah,
Figure out who that is. And not just do work just to do work. So evaluating your manager and the people above you is also very important too.
mhm.
Don't do this thing that a lot of people do is, oh, my manager knows what I'm doing. If your manager isn't connected and if they're not in the rooms that happen, how is he going to get you promoted?
Yeah.
You don't know. He does not know. Or if he's new and doesn't know the lay of the land, he can't help you. I am now an expert at navigating promotions for other people. But I'm like, hey, okay, so is your manager new? Has he been here a while? How is his relationship with the director? And they'll be like, why are you asking? I'm like, because you could do all this work this year.
Right.
But if that person is not connected or has the capability to promote you, then you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Are they a good writer? Have they promoted people before? Have they done it before? Have you seen them do it before? Okay, like that helps. But if you don't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, promotions aren't about you.
Great point. Great point. You know, you made it very clear that it's not just working hard; it's also playing the game itself.
It's a campaign. Treat
Campaign.
every promotion as a campaign.
You need
I
donations.
tell my team, I got 2 people promoted this year. I'm so happy. But it was so funny because I literally told them, okay, look, I'm be honest with you. Y'all my 6th and 7th like promotion myself. I've also advised 32 others. If I tell you to do something or go talk to this person or send this email, you do it. You don't ask no damn questions. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, because it works. It works. I
It
have it down to a
works.
science. I've done it so many times, and it's just like a whole like manipulation. You got to figure it all out. It's so fun. Now it's fun
Yeah.
because once you master something that you think that no one thinks you can master, that's always fun for me.
Noted. 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 I know. We got about a few more minutes here. I wanted to be respectful to your time, but I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you, real quick. You talked about sponsorship. What's the
Yes.
difference between sponsorship versus mentorship? Because I believe that a lot of us are over mentored and under sponsored.
Agreed.
We
There's a
have
big
mentors,
difference.
but we have no advocates, or we're not
Yeah.
in those rooms. And how valuable is sponsorship?
Oh, it's so valuable. So I think that the thing is, mentorship is a lot more clear. But people overuse it in the wrong ways. So, um, your mentor can also be your sponsor depending on what their power level is. But the biggest
Right.
difference between a mentor and a sponsor is a mentor is someone that gives you advice for how to progress in your career, but they're not responsible for putting you in position. That's what the sponsor is
Put you in
for.
position.
The sponsor's job is to put you in position. Also, mentor, you're going to talk to them on a frequent basis and tell them your plans and your dreams and what you're trying to do, whatever. Your sponsor, you're probably not going to talk to them that much.
Hmm.
Like it is what it is. We're not talking to them all year. So it's not talking about finding somebody and saying, can you be my sponsor? It's who is the person that makes decisions? So thinking about what you want to do. If it's moving to the next level, if it's getting a certain key position
Yeah.
within like a project, if it's positioning yourself to be in charge of a major program, who is the people that are responsible for getting you those? Those are the people that are your sponsors. So they could be a director of your company. It could be, but that person can pick you for a thing. It could be a person across the way that happens to be the EA, where you're like, ooh, if every time this person does this, can you make sure that I'm included? That's a sponsor. She's the EA, but she's now your sponsor. You know, like I
Right.
have sponsors that are EAs.
Yeah.
They hey, this person's coming into the building at this time, and I can make sure that they have 5 minutes for you, and then you can like meet with them, and if you just cross them at this point, she's my sponsor. She ain't a high level. We don't gotta do that title stuff. It's the people with access.
Right.
The sponsor has access. The mentor has guidance. That's the main difference.
The sponsor has access. I like that.
If you want to keep keep it, quick, sponsorship is access and power. Mentorship is guidance and direction. That's simple. That's it.
Folks, I hope y'all taking notes. That was a bar.
Yeah.
A whole lot of bars right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very valuable. Very valuable. Yeah. So with given your experience in this industry, what do you see, for the compliance space, for the security/compliance space? What do you see changing or improving,
Oh yeah.
in the next few years?
It's already starting to happen. If I were to really think about the power of what compliance is going to be in the future, it'll be a little bit different, a little bit more ambitious. But the first thing I would say is compliance is going to be less considered this check the box and more of a revenue target.
Okay.
They're
Revenue
already
talk.
starting to, it's starting to
Oh,
happen. It's like, ooh, my aim, the business is going to say, the aim is to get SOC. The aim is to get FedRAMP. The aim is to get these certifications because that opens the door for conversations.
mhm.
Because there's a lot of companies out there, a lot of companies in these industries, and they're looking to get into these fields. And so the gatekeepers, the people that have the money, are using these certifications as to weed out people. They're like, don't talk to me until you already have FedRAMP.
Right.
Don't
No
talk to me
contracts
until you
until you
have
got
no contract. We're not even going to talk until you have HIPAA. We're not even going to talk. Banks are saying, we're not even going to talk if you don't have PCI,
it.
right? Like big, like tech companies, like, don't talk unless you already have a SOC or ISO. Like Europe is like, don't talk to me unless you have C5. Japan is like, don't talk to me unless you have this. It's like that. These are the gates that are starting to happen because everyone has the same idea of getting that money or getting that access. So it's not this like, oh, optional thing. It's a barrier to entry. So soon, I would say in the next couple of years, compliance will really be a barrier to even enter the playing field of those markets. Right now, it's by words,
Right.
maybe sometimes by contracts, like, oh, at least get it before you start, you know? But
Right.
soon it'll be a barrier to entry to even getting any money in certain fields.
Wow. That makes a lot
So
of
that's
sense.
one.
Like,
The second thing is automation. There's obviously there's things about automation from a security perspective, but for compliance, that still hasn't gotten to that level yet. Automation
compliance
of
automation.
compliance automation,
Hmm.
like either showing, giving evidence is a big thing,
Right.
showing that it's actually being compliant, and like being able to do it at scale for all the different audits and all the different things you have to comply with. That is going to be the next thing from a product perspective.
Noted. Noted. So, folks, I hope you all have been taking notes. She gave us a strong blueprint. No, we'll call it a tech print,
Tech
right?
print.
Yeah. And I always like to end the podcast with a very fun question.
Ooh,
So, sometimes these will be a little controversial.
oh,
However, I will shoot straight. What is your favorite dessert?
ah,
I'll go first. I'll go first.
yeah.
My favorite dessert, as of right now, is matcha tea ice cream. Check back in a few months. I might change, but yeah, matcha
Right.
tea ice cream.
Okay, then right now it's snickerdoodle cookies
Man,
because my husband makes it fresh.
he from the
Fresh.
ground up. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
he has a starter. He always has it in the fridge. Me and my son love these cookies, and he
Okay.
has he has a little thing of cinnamon and stuff that he sprinkles over it after it. It's so good. So it's warm and it's amazing. It's so
Yes, snickerdoodle. Snickerdoodle. Whoever made that snickerdoodle cookie, God bless their
yes.
hearts. Man, that
So
that
actually, I will even be specific. It is my husband's snickerdoodle cookie. When I have others, I'm just like, okay, this is fine.
the Robinson snickerdoodle.
It's the Robinson snickerdoodle cookie. Yes, exactly.
Wow, wow. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I try not to eat as much desserts these days, but whenever I do, that matcha tea ice cream, the chocolate chip cookies. I, a lot of people don't know that, for a long time, I didn't like what you call it, like strawberry. I hated it.
Oh,
But as you get older, your taste buds change a little bit. Now as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, this is
right.
amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, all that
Exactly.
sugar and good jazz. But yeah, this is not health advice, folks. This is
Not
tech
at all.
career
I can't help you anyway. I'm
advice.
just on that.
I'm not a health advisor, right?
It's
Hire a
the
nutritionist.
cybersecurity leader and compliance
Yeah,
expert. That health, I'm still on my journey.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Alexis, thank you so much for joining the show. Folks, if you found it really valuable, feel free, to check out Alexis Robinson on LinkedIn. Alexis, you're on LinkedIn, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so you can find her, Alexis Robinson, search in the search box, and I'll link it, in the comment section below. And yeah, Alexis, any parting words before we let you go?
Don't take this all so seriously. It's there is not a one size fits all situation when it comes to getting into your career and achieving. The biggest thing that I tell people is to be open. Your plans might change. Your degrees and cybersecurity certifications that you might want might change. It's being open to what you can do in this space and how to provide value for somebody else. That is really the goal for any job. And that has carried me through. So don't take it too seriously and be open. That's my last little words.
Yeah, I like that. It sounds like you're telling us, be in the moment and just enjoy the
Yes,
journey, enjoy the ride.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Alexis, thank you so much. We do
You're
appreciate you.
welcome.
Folks, if you see Alexis, say hi, like her post, comment, show her nothing but love because she's been extremely lovely to me. Thank you so much, Alexis. Have a blessed day.
Oh, thank you. Bye.